Well, the fashion month is over, so we are gonna talk about it. Cuckoo, my name is Anastasiia and welcome to my YouTube channel. As far as you have already realized, today we are doing a breakdown of the fashion month. Today we will cover the New York Fashion Week as well as the London Fashion Week, but if you are looking for the Milan or Paris, you know, subscribe to this channel. For the entirety of the fashion world, the September started within the New York City, or to be even more exact, within the coach. By the way, I'm going to be talking through the collections very quick because we have a lot to cover and I by no means want this video to be an hour long. So you may as well consider it to be a blitz review. Okay, stop blabbering. The first show of the New York Fashion Week, Coach by Stuart Weaver. Basically, it's very 90s minimalism, but add more color. And other than that, I mean, the leather, the slip dress silhouettes, and even blazer style jacket stayed intact. Moving on, Kate and Laura Mulvey at Darty. I mean, they just really said flowers, didn't they? And they meant like flowers with a capital F. There was this great quote from the interview they gave to Vogue, which basically leaves nothing else for me to say, and the quote goes as, "The idea of people blooming in a way, but also how do we use the history of textures and color from raw Darty and celebrate that in a collection about confidence." Moving on to the debut of Peter Doe as creative director at Helmut Lang. I think it was legit my biggest disappointment of the entirety of New York Fashion Week. Like, I have enjoyed a couple of minimal outfits with an interesting cut here and there that, you know, mainly reminded me of Dune, and because I'm a big fan, that's probably why I have enjoyed them. But other than that, I have no idea what's going on with the brand and why it is going, you know, in this particular way. Next is Christian Siriano, who did his usual sexy, body revealing, but also somehow more elegant than usual. Might be due to the fact that the collection was inspired by ballet, which he started as a kid, but I would also beat on the still wells and white luxury being like the main trope the fashion industry is following as now it inevitably rubs on everyone. Balgurum also kind of caught up with the overall minimal obsession, but in my humble opinion, that is only for the better. Like, it is still glitz and glamour and color, but not quite overbearing as it used to be. And to finish the first day of the New York Fashion Week, Mr. Ralph Lauren came back on schedule in New York. Like last time he has shown there was before COVID, I believe. And as a view, the collection was very American, but you know, in this mix of New York City jazz clubs and Texas cowboys, but also threw in hippies with their boho kind of American. Day 2 started with Bevza by Svetlana Bevza, and it's like Phoebe Philo structured minimalism, but make it a bit more modern and far more jazzy. And also, like, the evening section was to die for. TV by Smilovic, like same here but for millennials. And maybe instead of Philo, giving it more of a Prada vibe. I mean, it's structured, it's minimal, it's muted color palette. All in all, perfect for chuckles. Francis Cooler by Jack McCullough and Lazaro Hernandez. I feel like that day was labeled as a minimal show day only. I kind of expected it from Proenza, because at least it has always been minimal at core. But like every other brand is going the same direction, with a very rare glamorous exception. So yeah, you have already catched the drift. It's structured, it's minimal, it's muted, it's very Prada-like, you get it. Dion Lee. Now here we are talking like futuristic meets preppy meets a bit of still a lingering biker aesthetic. All in all, unexpectedly not as sexy, body conscious as it usually is, and almost feel like loads of inspo was taken from recommends. Like, not quite my vibe, but definitely an interesting thing to watch, especially like in comparison to the majority shows so far. Day 3 started with Kate by Catherine Holston. Chic, slick, minimal, structured, yada yada, and very Saint Laurent by Anthony Vaccarello, down to how the runway looks and models walk. Next we have Jason Wu. He was on the romantic sidewalk of Steel's Wells, but you know, still generally there. Very floral, reminds me of when Maria Grazia Curie started at Dior, but you know, add some barely there deconstruction. We're rebelling, but very quiet. Next is Adam by Hana Koneda. I'm probably being in an extremely reference mood today, But look, it's Molly Goddard meets Nancy Dojaka. In other words, we are doing minimal and romantic, but with some very much so highlighted lingerie elements. Ballet core is going strong this season. Sergio Hudson, and with him, office core has finally entered the dialogue. I'm only surprised it took that long. You know, still, at that point, the change of visual was very welcome. Also, my eye is so happy to see those very sharp 80s ankles. Always aside to the hold. Michael Kors. Well, he is basically thriving amongst current obsession with still wealth, quite luxury, all the jazz. But all in all, there was nothing really new there. It's a rather lazy collection and we have definitely seen it before. But crochet as well as oversized knitwear were very cute, I will give them that. Moving on, Altazura by Joseph Altazura. It was very utilitarian, once again kind of urban jungle meets a Prada from 90s. I loved particular looks, but all in all, it didn't felt quite like a collection. Unity between the looks was definitely lacking. Although designer himself claimed it was yet another escapist exploration inspired by Rosemary's Baby, and while I can totally say that about some of the looks, other ones are like straight from another movie. Adam Lippis. Anyway, it was so cute! This is giving a mix of Nina Ricci, before Harris Reid, and Maria Grazia Curie. I think we are safe to call it garden core. But like, these are definitely the vibes I'm channeling next spring-summer season. Wanna be garden fairy! I'm digressing. Tory Burch. Well, she has basically started her exploration of Claire McCardell, what, like 2 years ago? This is the furthest she went from the 1950s. Not that I was against it, quite opposite, but it is also nice to, you know, see something new from her. But alas, predictably more minimal. You cannot overrun the macro trend. You just can't. Laquan Smith. It was an ode to metallics and Tom Ford. Sexy, glamazon, very performance-like, but still, for him, it was definitely on the minimal side of things. Not my vibe, but I get it. In the end of the day, Y2K is living and breathing. Brandon Maxwell. I love where this man is going. I feel like after a bit of creative crisis, he is finally finding his footing. And who would think that typically American sportswear and bold-print designer would find himself in minimalism? But alas, it suits him, giving Chloe in the best way possible. I know we haven't even finished with the New York, and you're probably already fed up with the word minimalism. And like, believe me, I feel for you. There's nothing I can do about it. I haven't generally seen an industry taking after a macro trend with such ferocity and unity, like probably since the COVID. And even then, everyone kind of separated between glamazon maximalist and gothic anti-Uthapist. But anyway, we are moving on to Gabriella Hearst, and by gods, I'm happy she left Chloe. She definitely left too much of her creative energy as well as potential over there, and it wasn't nearly enough for her to cope with her own brand as well. But this, I'm obsessed. If we're calling it revenge collection or, I don't know, a revival one, it is sure to be one of the best I have seen in quite a while. Carolina Herrera by Bess Gordon, prime and proper, maybe a bit boring, but the silhouettes are impeccable. Tanner Fletcher. I would say that this is like a more fashion-directed version of classic Carolina Herrera. Bit of deconstruction here and there, some interesting styling, some playing around with textures, and voila, you have a not boring collection. Elena Velez. Deconstructed, reconstructed, minimalistic with post-apocalyptic notions. Everything is expected. On that note, we are slowly but surely moving on to the next step of the fashion month, which is London. Starting with Harris Reid lookbook. I know it's a lookbook and we are generally only talking about runway shows, but it's Harris Reid. I'm a fan though, so we're talking about it. The collection is a mix of inspo he got from his childhood drawings and vintage corset patterns at a Ladbroke Grove Market, but overall we have, you know, same dramatic shapes and silhouettes, nighttime/evening looks, usual black and white, and this type rose color palette. Not that I complain about repetitiveness here, since it is as beautiful as it was the first time, and until he is doing it this beautifully, I will not complain. The Pezza by Dimitra Pezza. Those wet-like dresses are still very exciting to look at, but besides, nothing much. Although I have to admit that I very much so enjoyed this whole ancient Greek golden goddess styling. Day 2 of London Fashion Week started with J.W. Anderson. I have 2 words for you: molded clothing. No, seriously, it looks like Dali persistence of memory, though in real life. But as it usually is with Jonathan Anderson, the whole collection is one huge attempt at manifesting mundane objects and processes into the clothing. And also for all the car dress fans, object dresses made their comeback, but now in the form of tables. Molly Goddard. What can I say? Even our beloved infants went minimal and Prada-like. 16 Arlington and Sainsbury here. Like, it is still sparkly, but make it off score. Structured, minimalism, 90s Prada-like, yada yada. Next we have David Coma, The Muse, because it's always a very distinctive muse with this one. For the collection was late Queen Elizabeth II and her everlasting love for roses. Personally, I see very little of Elizabeth, but you know, enough roses to cover for the both of them. Otherwise, I would say it was slightly more 90s with the denim, the sheer, and you know, the minimal silhouettes, rather than his usual Y2K, but I'm definitely in a team that has appreciated the sheet. Richard Quinn. Now that was spectacular, like one of my favorite collections from him so far. It's a beautiful mix of chic 1950s French couture, 1960s silhouettes, and add some Victorian-inspired details for good measure. And yes, both will be new flowers of the Spring-Summer 24 season. Simone Rocha. I don't know if I start seeing things or if NLP worked its wonders, but why? Why does it seem to me that the Queen of Romance herself was beaten by Phoebe Philo's minimalism? But fear not. Both bows and baby doll dresses were present, as well as what looks like a brand new collab with Crocs. Still don't get the shoe, but at least these ones are kind of pretty. Also, she's like the only person who manages to make sure dresses cute rather than sexy. Next we have Erdem. On the one hand, it's flowers for the spring, how groundbreaking. But on the other, who am I kidding? English Rose, inspired by the 1950s ball gowns, no less, is always a bow to look at. Amelia Wickstead, you know what I'm going to say, so repeat after me. Constructed minimalist. But honestly, I like how some are very intense in color prints, like those royal blue stripes, or you know, these black and white fairy tale flowers look with this very simplistic silhouettes. And you know, I'm saying it as a no pattern girly. And to finish it all up was Burberry by Daniel Lee. First and foremost, I know it's a controversial opinion, and generally this collection kind of divided people into those who has very enjoyed it and the others who did not at all. But I do much prefer this second show to his debut. I like everything more. Prints, the color palette, and most of all the styling. It feels like it was designed with someone other than Gen Z in mind. Also, I'm not sure about how popular low-rise trench coat will be, but I have sure as hell never seen something like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, the London Fashion Week came to an end. You will see me in the next video talking about Milan as well as Paris. If you don't want to miss it, you can subscribe to this channel or something. Also like this video, check out my other social media, and I'll see you there soon. Bye!